Minnesota State Innovation Model, Practice Facilitation, Process Mapping. What is process mapping? Process mapping is a visual and impartial way to identify where gaps and opportunities are arising, and also how they may be addressed. When should you do a process mapping experience? You should do process mapping both in your current state as well as your desired future state. In your current state, you'll want to do process mapping when you know a process is broken or if it needs improvement, if the process has too many steps, if there are multiple roles or departments involved, if the process is high impact, and if it's not working, it affects other processes or outcomes. When you know there is variation that you don't understand, and when you really want to understand what's going on. Examples include office visits, lab orders to results, and closing the referral loop. Process mapping helps you identify what your current workflow looks like, as well as what your desired workflow will look like, and where those gaps and opportunities are. So to get started with process mapping, you want to pick your process. Gather one or more representatives from every role who is a part of the process or who is impacted by the process. You'll want to define where the process starts and where it stops. And only focus on current state as one process mapping exercise and as future state in a second process mapping exercise. Do process map what is actually happening, not what the policy says. Document the steps of the process, capturing all of the variation, warts and all. This is just a visualization of how you can do process mapping. One way of doing process mapping is to take a giant roll of paper and stick it up on a wall and take stickies of different colors or stickies of the same colors and actually just start identifying all of the tasks done in a workflow. We like using stickies because you can move them around, and oftentimes when you start vetting your workflow with the people who are in the room, you'll learn that the process that you thought was in place is not actually the process that's being followed. And the second visual here is just a different way of doing process mapping by listing things, roles out along with steps. You want to have a parking lot when you do process mapping because you'll be sure to identify things that are out of scope from the current workflow that you're working on, but you don't want to lose sight of those later. Sometimes this is the process, and that's okay. That's the reason you were doing your process mapping in the first place. But when you get done with your process mapping, you'll see something similar to this, where you have listed all of the workflows out, and then you'll see the yellow in this particular example shows opportunities where you can improve your workflow. Red might list your pain points of where workflow needs to change sooner rather than later. What are the benefits of process mapping? It makes the problem areas visible. It includes all of the roles in the process. It allows for neutral curiosity. It acknowledges reality versus how it's supposed to be. And it creates those aha moments. Process mapping is about discovery as a team.